One day, al-Mu'mineen Aisha wanted to write a letter to Ziyad. What would she say? If she says Ziyad ibn Abi Sufyan, she's committing a big mistake and a sin. If she says Ziyad ibn Abi, Ziyad, the son of his father, then that would be considered an insult to him, and then he would not appreciate it. How can she manage at the same time that she's respectful and shrewd and writes the letter? She said, "Min al-Mu'mineen Aisha ila waladiha Ziyad." al-Mu'mineen Aisha writes a letter from al-Mu'mineen Aisha to her son Ziyad, without mentioning the name of his father. Again, Muawiyah declared this person to be the son of Ibn Abi Sufyan, the son of Abu Sufyan, in sharp contrast to what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Those are the things. Now, the other things that Muawiyah did to harbor many companions of the Prophet, bankroll them, help them to narrate many ahadith against the Prophet himself, or against Ali ibn Abi Talib. Therefore, you see plenty of those. I'm sure you have heard about this thing that is called Rada' al-Kabir. Rada' al-Kabir is that some woman, if she has, if there is a guy that needs to be mahram to a woman, and there is no way to get mahram, she can nurse him. If she nurses him, then it's considered to be mahram. This is written in Sahih Muslim and Bukhari. They narrate this hadith from al-Mu'mineen Aisha, but when you look closely, you see this is a fabrication by the cronies of Muawiyah. Muawiyah have made those and inserted those in the books of Sahih. In another hadith, in many hadith, not only one and two, Abu Bakr enters the house of Rasulullah and see that one of the wives of Rasulullah has a flute and the other one has a drum and beating and dancing. So he comes and says, "Mazamir al-shaytan fi bayt Rasulullah," the flute of devil, shaytan, in the house of Rasulullah. Rasulullah told him, "What's wrong with you, Abu Bakr? Everybody has a Eid, every group has a Eid, and this is our Eid, so let them have fun." Who has inserted those ahadith? Again, when you check it, you see this is Muawiyah, reducing the integrity, the respect for Rasulullah in this way. And other ahadith against the household of the Prophet. One thing that he did in Salat al-Eid, the prayer, Eid prayer, first there is a prayer, 2 rak'ah, afterward there is a ceremony, there is a sermon, 2 sermons, khutbah, 2 speeches. And it doesn't have adhan, just the Imam calls for Salat, people gather, and then they start the prayer. After the prayer, there are 2 sermons. What Muawiyah did, number 1, he put an adhan for Salat al-Eid. Second, he took the sermons, put them before the prayers, and then put the prayers afterward. Now you would ask why. The reason, because once he became in power, he started cursing Ali ibn Abi Talib. At any ceremony, the Friday sermon would not conclude without the curse and profanity towards Ali ibn Abi Talib, Fatima al-Zahra, Hassan and Hussein. People got fed up. Therefore, they started not to listen to the khutbah. Therefore, what did he do? Number 1, he declared adhan. When you hear an adhan, you have to give up everything and go to the masjid. Nowadays, when you go to Saudi Arabia, once you hear the adhan, you have to give up everything, leave your shop, leave your business, just pull over and go to the masjid. That is what it's a law. That law was since then, during Muawiyah. So everybody had to gather in the masjid to attend Eid prayers. Then he would bring the khutbah before to curse Ali ibn Abi Talib first before people would disperse. Because if they do the prayers, they finish the prayers and then they disperse without listening to the khutbah, to the sermon. Therefore he advanced the khutbah, so everybody sit down and listens to the khutbah while he curses Ali ibn Abi Talib, and then he allows people to leave. You see how he changed, distorted even the ahkam, the prayers that Allah and the Prophet have asked for, and the ahadith, many narrations that he brought against Ali ibn Abi Talib and the household of the Prophet. People like Mughira ibn Shu'bah, Abu Huraira, and many other companions. Just pull them, write them a nice check in their accounts or deposit some money in their accounts, then they would follow. One of them is Mughira ibn Shu'bah. This guy came to Muawiyah. Muawiyah told him, I want one favor from you. He said, what do you want? He said, there is an ayah, I want you to say that this ayah is for Ali ibn Abi Talib. About who? About a person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يُعْجِبُكَ قَوْلُهُ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَيُشْهِدُ اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا فِي قَلْبِهِ وَهُوَ أَلَدُّ الْخِصَامِ. About a hypocrite. A hypocrite that you see him, he speaks nicely, but in fact his heart is full of rage and animosity toward Islam. وَإِذَا تَوَلَّى سَعَى فِي الْأَرْضِ لِيُفْسِدَ فِيهَا وَيَهْلِكَ الْحَرْثَ وَالنَّسْلَ. Once he reaches in power, he corrupt things, he destroy things and attack things. He came and told Al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, Mughira ibn Shu'bah told him, you need to say that this has descended on Ali ibn Abi Talib, referring to Ali ibn Abi Talib. This man told him, how much you pay? He said, 100,000. He said, no, 100,000 is little. You know, I am buying Jahannam with this one. 100,000 is still little. He said, what about 200,000? He said, no, still little. You know, I need more. 300? No, more. 400,000? He said, okay, now it's worth it. 400,000 dinars you give me, then I will sell you my religion, sell you my faith. He took the stage and said, Ayyuhan nas, this ayah came upon Ali ibn Abi Talib, referring to Ali ibn Abi Talib. So he had bankrolled people to attack the integrity of Rasulullah. Why? You could not attack Rasulullah directly, but he goes after his right hand, the second man. He knows when he attacks Ali ibn Abi Talib, in fact, he's attacking Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa. Now, there were so many people, scholars, who used to get money from Muawiyah, and then, in return, they give him the favor, whatever he asked. But the problem is that after them, there were people who would come, who have sold their religion, their conscience and their faith, but in reality, without getting anything in back. We have a hadith from Rasulullah says that شَرُّ النَّاسِ مَنْ بَاعَ آخِرَتَهُ بِدُنْيَا. The worst person who sells his akhirah for his dunya, for a few profits, a few dirham, a few dollars he makes in this life, he sells his akhirah, give up his akhirah and goes to the hellfire. وَشَرٌّ مَنْ بَاعَ آخِرَتَهُ بِدُنْيَا غَيْرِهِ. And worse than this guy is someone who sells his akhirah, but not for his dunya. He's not getting anything, but for the dunya of someone else. That you see someone, he doesn't benefit you, he doesn't give you anything, but you side with him, you lose your dunya and you lose your akhirah. Among them was Shaykh al-Islam Ahmad ibn Taymiyyah. Today when you say Ahmad ibn Taymiyyah, you have to say Shaykh al-Islam. He is the Shaykh of Islam. Which Islam? This Islam. What does this man say? First of all, he defends Muawiyah to the bone. There are so many scholars who defended Muawiyah. Rasulullah has cursed him, has said that Muawiyah is cursed. La ashba' Allah batna. When you read this hadith in Sahih Muslim, what does Sahih Muslim say? Sahih Muslim says in the book, he puts it in this category. He says that in a place, he has a category for the ahadith. This called the hadith that Rasulullah has said about Muawiyah, La ashba' Allah batna. He said that this category, this hadith is in this category. من لعنه النبي أو سبه أو دعا عليه وهو ليس أهلا بذلك. Meaning that in a category that Rasulullah has cursed people, but they really didn't deserve the curse. Then he narrates this hadith again from Rasulullah. Rasulullah said, إِنَّمَا أَنَا بَشَرٌ, I'm a human being. Sometimes I hurt people. I use a profanity. I curse people. I hit people. So, oh God, whoever I do this for him, جعلتها زكاة وصلاة له تقربه بها يوم القيامة. Whatever bad things I did to those people, oh God, may you reverse the situation and make it a purification and a cleansing for them, and you reward them for the mistakes that I have done. They narrate this hadith about the Prophet in order to save who? To save Muawiyah. The sanctity of Muawiyah is more important than the sanctity of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah attests, God attests to the purity of the Prophet. Allah Himself says, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ فَبِمَا رَحْمَةٍ مِنَّا لِنْتَ لَهُمْ وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Prophet never says anything from his own. وَمَا يَنطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. But they had to narrate this hadith, but how? In a way to insult the Prophet himself. Sometimes you want to give a credit for someone. That's fine, you give him, you fabricate a hadith. But sometimes you fabricate a hadith to bring up someone, but at the expense of the Prophet. They narrate, again you see this one in the Sahih. And believe me, my point here is not to attack anyone and not to insult. But they narrate that one day, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sitting in the masjid, and at the time, they were not, clothes and shirts like now. They were only two pieces of cloth. One will go on the shoulder, the other one on the waist. That's it. No other piece. So Rasulullah is sitting in the majlis, and he's sitting while his legs and thighs were shown to people. He's sitting in a way. Nowadays, imagine somebody here in the majlis sitting and showing his thighs and a person. Imagine a regular person can do that thing, let alone the prophets of Allah. The great prophet of Rasulullah, they narrate that he's sitting and showing his thighs and legs. Now, the first Khalifa entered, Rasulullah does not do anything. He's sitting, enjoying his time. Maybe he was suntanning, I don't know what he was doing. Anyway, then the second Khalifa enters, Rasulullah again enjoying himself. All of a sudden, Uthman enters. At that time, Rasulullah covers his thighs. And this is in the curriculum. If you don't believe me, check the 5th grade for the Islamic education of 5th grade in the Persian Gulf countries. I borrowed that book from my son's books. And I looked at this hadith from his books. Then he covers his leg. They told him, Ya Rasulullah, why didn't you do this? When you saw Abu Bakr, when you saw Umar, when you saw Uthman, you did this one. He said, أَلَا أَسْتَحِي مِنْ شَخْصٍ تَسْتَحِي الْمَلَائِكَةُ مِنْ. The angels feel ashamed they feel embarrassed from Uthman. Shouldn't I also be embarrassed? Now, given that you want to respect Uthman, that's fine. Fabricate any hadith to bring him up, but not at the expense of the Prophet. Now you wonder why Salman Rushdie comes down and writes the satanic verses? Why? He didn't bring it. Believe me, if you check satanic verses, whatever profanity it has, he didn't bring it from his pocket. He went all the Sahih, took those narrations, and he wrote his book from them. So why do we have to blame him when we have those profanities in our religious books? Those are all inserted by Muawiyah in the hadith. I will keep my talk short, but what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has done, he has given us a caliber to know who are the Sahaba. If you want to judge a Sahaba, there are 120,000 of them. He has given us an indicator, has told us, based on what factor you will decide this Sahabi is good or this Sahabi is bad. Again, this hadith, luckily, is narrated in Sahih Muslim, narrated by Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. And this is narrated in Sahih Muslim. He said, وَالَّذِي فَلَقَ الْحَبَّ وَبَرِئَ النَّسَمَ إِنَّهُ لَعَهْدُ النَّبِيُّ الْأُمِّيِّ أَنَّنِي لَا يُحِبُّنِي إِلَّا مُؤْمِنٌ وَلَا يُبْغِضُنِي إِلَّا مُنَافِقٌ. Ali ibn Abi Talib